did run the poll. I had a number of you respond with what time would be good, as well as level of experience. The majority was 0 experience, and so this workshop is going to be aimed at people who are beginners, who have interest in learning game development, don't know where to start. This will give you step one. It's not going to be all encompassing. It's not going to be the best of practices for reasons of brevity and time's sake. But it'll hopefully get you started, and with your own motivation, you can continue and make bigger games. And if reception's good, I can do this again next Friday with something a bit more heft to it, a bigger, more complex game. So,
yeah, and just to let you guys know that your president me, like I just did my first game jam. Like I'm still learning everything, but I wanted to get everything set together for the university so everybody else could be learning along. And the way I got this done is just by surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me about it, so that way we could get this started for you guys. So, anything else? Any other questions?
Am I muted or?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, going along what he said about the skill level,
Right.
is this is just more of like a questionnaire kind of thing. Will we actually be like designing individual projects, or is this gonna be like a team kind of thing? Because I have heard a lot about the game jams, and I've been thinking of getting into that kind of thing.
Okay, so yeah, like through this org, you could find people that you could click with, and you could form a team and participate in game jams. We are planning to have our own game jam sometime next semester. We're gonna try to get that worked out with the university so we can have both in person and on Discord. And we will also I will also try to be collaborating with other universities so that way we could get others to participate as well.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and then also we are also in discussion about possibly working on some larger scale projects as well with a majority of the members, but that is something that it's still under discussion, so it's I don't really have a lot of details on that right now. But yeah, those are some things that we're working on.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Any more questions? Awesome. I'm glad I'm getting asked more questions than your guys' professors. All right. I guess I'll leave it up to Luis now. Thank you.
Awesome. Am I audible? Looks like it. Start recording. All right. So I'm recording just in case anyone here doesn't know. And I think someone else is also recording. So if you don't want to be caught on the mic, but you still want to talk, we got the workshop chat there. Anyhow, all right. So first, I'm going to start with a little slideshow presentation. This will just be a very brief primer / orientation. Again, a lot of 0 experience beginners here. The focus here is just going to be get you somewhat familiar with some jargon in the industry. And so hopefully anyone who kind of knows they want to do something about this thing in game dev, but they don't know what that thing is, maybe this will point you a little closer. It's not going to be all-encompassing. This is just a start. So just first off, real quick, the industry sizes. You may have heard the terms AAA, AA, and indie, just so you know what that is. The separation of what makes a team, a game development team, different as far as AAA, AA, and indie. Oh, someone hot mic to there. Oh, whatever. The size, the amount of ownership over your own project, the budget, the tech stack, and the individual responsibility, that meaning how much work or how much of the onus of work any particular individual has. All of those are going to be the major contributing factors to, being classified as AAA, AA, or indie. Here are some examples, just to throw that at you. An indie it's kind of weird, the term indie. It used to mean just a group of like 1 or 2 people making a video game. Nowadays, it's a bit more a small team, small these days, meaning maybe a dozen or less, who retain ownership of the IP of the game. And so originally, Minecraft was an indie. Celeste currently, Transistor, Meat Boy, all of those, you can classify them as indie teams. AAA on the complete opposite end. That's your big budget. You don't get any bigger than AAA. AAA, I like to consider a good litmus test for who is AAA. If you have $1 million marketing budget, you're AAA. If you've got 100+ people working on the game, you're AAA. And so Assassin's Creed, FIFA, and Elder Scrolls, and now again, Minecraft. That's because they got bought out by, who was it? Microsoft. So their marketing budget has ballooned, and they've got multiple teams now working on the various games, because now Minecraft is this whole big franchise. But originally, it was just one guy. And so at that point, it was indie. AA is kind of everything in between. And it does get muddy as to what's in between. Someone asked if PowerPoint is going to be uploaded. I'll do that afterwards. All right. Those are your vague terms and vague definitions for what's AAA, AA, and indie. As long as you know the terms and you have the general idea, great. Where do I come in? I'm an indie. I've worked with other indie teams. I know a bit about what it's like working at AA and AAA. I've got several buddies that work there. I had one stint with a few publishers that are AA, but I've not been in there for more than a few weeks at a time through side contracts with my buddies. So unfortunately, if you've got questions about what it's like in AAA or AA, I won't be able to give you too much insight. Anyhow, moving on from those terms. All right. Let's go over the visual people. You got your artist. They make things that look pretty. A bit more specific than that, you've got people that do concepting, sculpting, animating, and so on here. Trying to figure out how to word this. So going back to what makes the difference between an indie and a AAA on the topic of responsibility, you can kind of think of the way I've listed the items here as that hierarchy for responsibility. If you're working at an indie team, you're going to be an artist. And all these other sub jobs, these specializations, making the concept, the sculpting, the rigging, the VFX, that all just falls to you. It's if you want to be much more specialized. Man, I worded that word. If you want to be much more specialized, you're gonna most likely find those jobs in the AAA, where they can afford to say, "Hey, we need to hire someone who will specifically focus on animating or on motion capture or UI." So yeah, these are some of the jobs out there. These are the common ones, at least. You can get more niche than this, so don't let this be the end-all list. Same thing for audio. If you get hired on a small team, you're the music guy. You make all the music and the sound effects. You can also end up making Foley. Does anyone here not know what Foley is, or Foley? I don't know the correct pronunciation. I'm going to assume someone said...
Wait, like foliage? I don't know what you mean.
So Foley, okay. Think of sound effects, but that are meant to be real. When someone's making a film, they're recording the actual, there's a person walking, or there's a horse walking, and some other character is trying to have dialogue, and you film that. If you film it as is, the audio levels might be all out of whack. And so what'll happen is we record only the dialogue, and then we have someone else recreate the sound of the horse walking. It's not the actual horse walking that's being heard at the end product. Excuse me. Yeah, it's someone else who made that sound, and we call that Foley. Foley's based off some guy who first made that term.
So like background noise essentially to go along, like to make the sound more congruent with the rest of like I guess the
Yes.
scene.
Yeah, to bring it to life so that the things that are happening contextually, they make sense. Um, you'll find that
Thank
in the
you.
AAA studios that yeah, there are Foley artists, and their whole job is make the sound effects for things that are actually happening in game. Not the stuff that's just like, oh, here's a little beep for the UI, but here's a beep for when you press this interface on this sci-fi door in this corridor in this game. That's its own thing. So that side of making realistic sound effects is called Foley. For anyone who didn't know and might be interested in such,
Is it kind of like the bug from Halo Infinite,
like the
the
what?
bug noises? I
Maybe.
don't know. They were sharing some of that.
Yeah, I know they used like whenever there's like a secret assassin, he like snaps somebody's neck. They crack celery
Yeah.
to make
So
like the bone.
that right there
Yeah.
is Foley. It's its own job, and it's really fascinating. Bunch of really good documentaries on that.
So in a way, it's like pseudo sounds.
Yes, and for various reasons. But yeah, that's a good way to put it.
All right.
Yeah, because you're not gonna crack anyone's necks for a video game.
A bit more specialized than all of that, you've got audio engineers. They're the guys who they'll take all this audio and master it, make it sound good. Because maybe you got this sound effect and you got this Foley artist. They're giving you this audio and it's great, but for whatever reason, this audio is just too loud and it's washing out the dialogue, and you can't actually hear what they're saying when you hear the horse. An audio engineer can fix that. And here are just a list of modern tools that I asked my audio friends to give me. For anyone who's interested in audio, look at these, pick one, learn it, and you're on a good start. I'm not an audio guy. I'm not an artist guy. So forgive me, I couldn't go too hard on those topics. Where I come in, oh wait, no, it's miscellaneous. Never mind, I don't come in miscellaneous yet. Here are some other roles you'll find that are pretty common in game development. Game designers, level designers, you got your voice actors in writing, QA testers, and then the almost not really related to game development, but still equally important, marketing, publishers, producers, localization. Game designer, to give some clarification, because I find that a lot of people get confused with that one. A designer is not just an idea guy. For anyone who thinks, oh, I'm going to make the ideas and that's it. You're not going to find a company wanting to pay someone to just come up with ideas. What you'll actually be doing as a game designer, for the most part, you'll actually come up with the systems. Yes, the ideas are a part of it. But on top of that, you do document the processes, the intention of what you want the players to do, how you expect to lure them into the interactions that you want to happen. And you'll also, to some extent, be expected perhaps to implement them. Not full on, maybe just script them, make small demos. Oh, I have a system for this first person shooter. I want this really interesting interaction. Okay, make a test demo on the side and make a rapid prototype and see if it works the way you anticipate it working. And then iterate on that. Get player feedback, test it, iron out any issues, and so on. So yeah, just to clarify on that one. All right. And this is where I actually come in and I can be a little more clear with y'all. Development. For the most part, you can assume all of these are title/developer. So gameplay developer is going to be the most common development title you'll find in the industry. And that's where we're going to be. After this, we'll do the workshop. We're going to make a game. And what we're going to be doing would fall under this category of a gameplay programmer or gameplay developer. And yeah, it's the broadest term out there. A bit more specific than that, you'll sometimes find people specializing in any of these topics: physics, AI, UI/UX, graphics, and tech artists. For the first four, you'll have people, that's their whole job. Make the physics of this video game work well. Or the AI, or the graphics. Tech artist and graphics, what's the difference, right? A graphics programmer makes things like shaders, um, make things look pretty um, on the computer. It's not an artist drawing a thing. It's a program that's doing a thing. It's making the fire or the water on the level ripple and have specular highlights and so on. A tech artist doesn't do that. What a tech artist does, they make tools for the artist so that the artist can better, make art. So maybe they'll make a little tool that allows an artist to I'm trying to think of an example. Oh my goodness. Why do I have to blank out right now? I'm blanking out. Just know they make tools for the artist. And we'll move on. I'll try and come up with an example of what a tech artist does. And it's funny, I have so many tech artist friends. I don't know what they do right now. More specialized than even that, and I would say more hardcore, tools, networking, and render engineers. So kind of similar to a tech artist, a tools engineer, their whole job is, hey, make tools for the other people in our team to, make video game. Pretty common tool that I'm using right now, LDTK, Level Designer Toolkit. That's a tool made by the guy who made Dead Cells. He made it for himself. What is it? It's a tool to make 2D square-based maps in game, or just maps. It exports to JSON or some other format. And so then in your game, you can pull that map data, make the map, and it's done. And it makes the process of making the map really easy. If I were to try and make the map by hand, forget about it. I'm not doing it. With his tool, I can make a really large map for my players to explore in a couple hours. Amazing tool. That's a lot of work, as is networking and render engineers. The same thing. You have people, sometimes whole teams, dedicated to how can we make the networking or a whole render engine so that our game works better. And again, this is tiered. This is the hierarchy. So a tools engineer, a networking engineer, render engineer. You're not going to find this at an indie team. You'll find this at the big boy teams. Riot, for example, has a networking team. When you're working at the scale that Riot is with League of Legends and Overwatch, yeah, you need people who can do all sorts of specialized tools and work to make the game not as laggy or problematic for their entire player base. They have to work at scale. Really complex stuff. And then the most hardcore people of all, in my opinion, you've got the engine developers. These are the people who work on the actual engines. Oh, Valorant, my bad. Riot makes Valorant, not Overwatch. I don't play any of those games, so I don't know the difference. All right, so engine developers, you've got people who actually make Unity, they make Unreal Engine, they make Godot, and so on. They're not making a game, they're making a tool for other teams to make games. The tool, the engines that I listed are the common ones. There are proprietary engines out there. What is it? Bethesda uses one. I can't remember the name of it. The Creation Engine.
Yeah, Creation.
The Creation Engine. I know Decima was used by Hideo Kojima. What else? There are other engines out there that a company will sometimes just make from scratch. Yeah, general purpose engines, they're really good tools. They allow you to make a game and take care of a lot of work for you. But sometimes it's just not enough. You need something much more specialized. And so you do still have engine developers and whole engine development teams in companies. All right, on the topic of engines, what is an engine? I kind of got it ahead of myself. An engine is this piece of software. It takes care of a lot of the minutiae and the details of making a video game for you. So things like rendering, resource management, implementing physics and AI, scripting, audio processing, all of that's done for you. You don't have to get into the nitty-gritty for it. You're still expected to do some work. It's not just plug and play, but we are getting, closer to that every day. So at the core level, you've got just a language. It doesn't really give you much other than telling a computer or a processor to do things for you. So, I mean, y'all are mostly computer science students. Here are some of the languages you should be aware of: C++, Java, C, and C#. You can make a game in these languages. Minecraft was made in mostly just Java. The amount of work you're going to have to do for this to really pay out, it's pretty large. It is doable, but when you get into the nitty-gritty, it's difficult. Okay, so on top of that, say you do want to work with mostly just a language, have some tools. An engine is just no to whoever just asked that question. I'm sorry about the name. I can't read it right now. Above a language, for the purpose of making a video game, you have frameworks. Here are some examples: Love2D, LW, what is that? Lightweight Java Gaming Library, which I think is what Minecraft used. libgdx and Monogame. Monogame uses C#. So Super Mega Junior 2.0 asks, is an engine not just a ton of functions that run at the same time? That's kind of what a framework is. A framework here, these will provide you some implementation, but mostly an interface for what a game expects. So I played with Love2D. Love2D, it gave me some rendering capabilities done. It gave me a main loop that was done and working. And I think that's about it. You still have to implement most other things. Above that, you've got engines. That's where we're going to start after this with the workshop. An engine, it gives you an interface and most implementation. You can pick any of these, get started with it. You don't need to implement, the task of telling the GPU to draw things for you. That's done. You just need to give it the data of what you want it to draw. Here's this cube, or here's this sprite, this texture. Please draw it for me at this coordinate. Done. You don't have to worry beyond that. Whereas if you're just using a language, you have to worry about that. It also gives you much more than just that. How you go about wrangling the data in the engine, in the editor, it's a much nicer experience than trying to code every single aspect. And I suppose that's actually one of the factors itself, having an editor to coincide with the engine. You don't get that with a framework, but you do get that with an engine, a full-blown editor that makes life easier. Alrighty. I know that was really dense and vague, oddly, and very quick. My whole goal was just to get you all caught up with some terms for anyone who didn't know any, and I hope that you do. That said, that aside, one of the most important things you can do right now, if you're actually interested in going into game development, is to get started. Do some game jams, do some personal projects, find some open source projects you can contribute to. If maybe you're not a developer and you don't know how to do the game development side, you're interested in doing the writing, audio, visuals, okay, great. Make asset packs and sell them on itch. I highly recommend, if you're interested, to get started. If you want a job in the industry, this right here, like having a game you can point to on Steam or on itch, like, hey, look, I made this. You're going to be so much better than, the person who doesn't. And so with that, the slides end, and we'll go ahead and get started and make our own game. It'll be very brief. Well, brief in quotation marks. We're going to make Pong. I'll do that right here, live streamed. Let me switch to here. I'm going to make Pong. You're free to follow along. If you want to follow along, please download the Godot engine. And if you've got questions during the process, just ask. I'm aiming for this to take 20 to 30 minutes. And the goal is to get you a bit familiar with Godot. Godot is the engine that I use. for various reasons. I can get into that later. But yeah, I'm gonna make Pong. This is gonna be step one, and hopefully you continue making games. Question, what's up?
If you were on a MacBook, which version would you download?
Let me look at the link. It should say Apple, I think, or Mac.
Oh, there's a link.
Yeah. Who is it that's talking? Jacob?
Yes.
Here, I pinged you. Sorry for my cough. I'm a little sick. I got sick 2 weeks ago, and it's still not fully gone.
Right here. I'm in the workshop chat. Let's see. Where's the link?
Oh,
Here it is. Found it.
there it is. It's pretty small.
Oh, here it is.
75
I believe
megabytes.
it's Mac OS.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Now I can open this up.
So before I get started, did anyone have any questions on the slides and whatnot? Confused, or did I skip over anything? If so, now would be a time. Because after this, we're just going to get started. We're going to make Pong. You can follow along. And hopefully it'll be eye-opening how much work goes into such a simple game. All right. Okay. So how many people are actually going to follow along? So I know if I'm going to need to pay attention to people getting stuck.
Right here.
I'm gonna follow along. I have
Okay.
it open and stuff. I will.
Okay.
I'm
So
also
a number.
follow along.
Okay. So I maybe should have asked a better question.
I'm seeing an option here, right here, that says Pong with C#. Is that the one we'll be focusing on?
Whoa, how did you get this?
He's
Oh.
in the assets library
Yeah,
project.
I see.
Straight over
Don't
there.
go there. Okay, when you download this and you run Godot, we're gonna make a new project. Call it, something. On the right, you'll see new project. Let's just call it, I don't know, Pong, I guess. Create the folder, create an edit, and there we go. And we're just gonna start from there, from step 0. Alrighty. If at any point, we're going to do it this way. If I'm too far ahead, if someone got stuck or fell behind or whatever, just interrupt me in voice chat or in text.
Oh my god.
I'll check in.
We're doing 2D, I assume, right?
Yes, 2D.
Okay, because it shot me immediately to the 3D screen and I almost panicked.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So I've got the stream here. This is what you should see when you create the project and it launches, and that's it. This is it. Okay, I got some people typing, so let's pause for just a second. Okay, do we select GLES 3 or 2? Whatever's the default is perfectly fine. What we're going to be doing, it won't matter. That's a question. It's a bit weird that they asked that. It matters if you're making some really specialized game, or rather, if you're making a game that's targeting specialized hardware. Actually, not specialized, just specific hardware. We're making Pong. It won't matter. The default, I think, is 3. That should be good. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. So, let's see. Is my mouse cursor visible on the stream for y'all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so that you're familiar and you're not too scared of clicking on things, this is Godot. You've got a bunch of panels. On the left here, you'll see the option for 2D, 3D, user interface, other node. Just click on 2D scene for now. It's going to create a node in the engine, and it's the root node. and that's how we'll start. So nodes, yeah.
Did you do that again? 2D root node, right?
Yeah.
I'm in. Thank you.
How many people here have not taken data structures and algorithms yet? Like you're still in CS1 or CS2?
Yeah, that's
Right
me.
here.
Me.
Okay, we've got a number.
Me.
Okay.
Same.
All right. So I'll go over it briefly. Godot uses a node scene system. You're going to have lots of different compartments or modules of, let's just say a thing, right? The thing itself is a node. You'll have this thing, and maybe it's got a script. It can do its own things through scripting. It has other data associated with it. All of that gets encompassed in this thing that we call the node. A node is part of this tree. A tree or a node can have other nodes, children nodes, or parented. How do you supposed to describe that? You can attach a node to another node as a child. There we go. I haven't done a lecture in a few years. Please forgive me for being very impromptu.
Good.
So anyway,
I have a question.
go for it.
Is this like a binary search tree? Like
Yeah, it's the same thing, but this is just a generalized tree.
Oh, okay.
All right. So what we're doing here, we're creating
Sorry, my Discord crashed.
Your thing crashed.
The Discord.
Oh, I was like, we didn't make anything. How did it crash?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, my Discord like completely like froze when I was trying to get into full screen, and I'm like, oh shoot, it just crashed.
Hey, Super Mega, you can't run. Are you on Linux by any chance? Oh, it's loading. Okay.
All right, I'm here.
Are you on a slow PC? That's interesting. I wouldn't expect it to slow down like this. If it ends up getting really bogged down, I may have to leave you behind, and we can totally chat later to catch up, depending on the situation. Alrighty. While Super Mega types out, so we hopefully have a screen here. You're looking at the 2D view. You've got a node on the left. It's node 2D. On the left here, this is your scene tree. As you add more nodes to your tree, you'll see them pop up here, and you can mess with them. If I click off the node on the right in the inspector, over here, I've got nothing. But the moment that I click on that node, all of the properties of that node appear. So a node 2D, it's got things like a transform, a z-index, visibility, materials. We won't care for any of that right now. But if you do need to look at a node, you can just click on it. The inspector will appear on the right side there. And that's how you can start modifying it. Okay. So no one's falling behind. Great. Okay. Pong. What do we need for Pong? We need a player, another paddle that acts like the player but is not the player, and a ball. Which one do y'all want to do first?
The ball.
All right.
Let's do the simpler.
Okay. So let's see. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do this the formal way. Right-click on Node 2D. You'll see a bunch of options. Let's add a child node. In here, you're going to see a whole bunch of options. These are all the different nodes that are defined in Godot. These are the things I was telling you about earlier.
Wait, how do we access that again?
Right-click on Node 2D. Over here.
I'm clicking it, and it's only giving me the option to rename it.
Right-click.
Yeah, it's not.
Only the option to rename?
Oh,
Huh.
maybe it's because I'm doing it on a Mac. Let me try hooking up my mouse.
If you can take a screenshot, that's interesting. Why would it only give you the option to rename?
It's because the Mac doesn't have like a keyboard and mouse. It has that giant bumper.
Interesting.
Here, give me a
So-
second. Try and instead. Oh wait, I can't plug in a mouse to the Mac. Oh, shit.
So the other thing you can do, click on the node, right? Just a regular left click, and then do Control A Does that pull up create new node for you? Or what is it on Mac? Command A?
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
Command A. Thank you. So thank you so much.
All good. All right. Let's. What do we need for the ball? Let's keep it pretty simple. Let's do a sprite. Pick sprite. Please make sure it's the blue one and does not say 3D. If you do the 3D one, you're already veering off course.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
can you explain real quick what a sprite is?
All right. A picture. Y'all know how to take pictures on your phones and whatnot. That picture. A picture itself, when we're using it in a development context, at least, or rather, in-game development, we refer to those as sprites, sometimes as textures as well. Although a texture has a bit more of a connotation for being used as a material. So really, when I say sprite, I mean a picture, a PNG, an SVG, a JPEG, etc. So that's all that is. Okay. You'll have edited here, and great. We've got nothing on the screen. What's going on? Well, we have the node there. It's parented to the root node, but it doesn't have the data. We need to tell the sprite node what to draw. On the bottom left of our screen here, we've got a file system. It's a little viewer into your folder with all your stuff in it. We have this amazing icon by default that comes with every Godot project. You can drag and drop that icon into the texture field of the sprite. Now, if you don't see this on the right, it's because you don't have the sprite selected. So make sure you select sprite, and then you can drag the texture there. And now we have a picture on the screen. It's beautiful.
Should it be centered with the green and blue, green and red lines?
If you didn't move the sprite, that's where it's going to end up. You can drag the screen with a right click, drag hold. If you want to just move around.
Damn, it's not working. It's just wait. Oh, dang it! It's not working. It said it's doing that thing where it's like doing like a multi-select.
Multi-select.
Oh, it's because of the Mac. I have to drag with 2 fingers. Okay, so there's a lot of alternatives because I don't know what system you're using.
I am on Linux.
Okay, yeah. For me, it's I have to have it on the map, click it, and then move around with 2 fingers. This is weird. Okay, now it's not working again. Dang it.
If you want, you can stream and I can work through it. Yeah, Kayaks. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that name. The workshop is being recorded. I'm recording at least. I think someone else might also be. Okay. Did you get it working or no? You've got a node 2D, and under it, you've got this node called sprite. All right.
Wait, are you having problems like dragging, like moving it? Like moving the actual screen around?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, you could just click the hand at the top, and then you could just use like whatever button you want on your mouse.
Oh,
Left click.
I thought you had trouble putting the texture on the sprite. Yeah, you may have pressed a button and entered a different mode. You can click the hand there. I've got my cursor on it here. You can also press G for pan mode. When you do that, you can just left click and move around.
Yeah, it's not wanting to do that. I'm clicking and it's not moving at all. It's like the screen's frozen.
Well, let's move on. You don't need to, thankfully. As long as you still have like this view here, you'll be fine.
Yeah, right now the little cursor's like in the middle of the screen.
The cursor? Do you mean the Godot icon?
Yeah.
That's fine. We should be fine. Let's go ahead and save this for now. You can do Control S, And now what you're going to end up doing is just saving, this whole thing. The current scene, so the node that we have, as well as the structure of nodes that it contains, all of its children, that information, that layout and scheme gets saved. Let's call this Pong. And just save it there. Okay. From here, go ahead and press F5 or the play button up here on the top right. It's going to ask you, there's no main scene. Just select the current scene that we just created by saving, and you'll have your game as it is right now running. You're going to notice it's just the gray screen with the Godot icon on the top left corner there. Only a quarter of it showing. Why is that? Why is it not in the center?
Where's the run button?
On the top right, you see a little triangle, like the YouTube play button.
Oh, I see it.
Or F5. Hopefully Mac has F5.
No, it doesn't, but I found the play button.
Okay, perfect. If you hover over it, it'll give you the command, the hotkey for it, hopefully. Okay. So here's an interesting question. Why is
I
it
can move around now. That's good.
Oh, you can move around now?
Yeah, it's just like very weird. Like I have to have my fingers on it for multiple seconds and then it works.
Interesting. Okay. So why is the Godot icon showing up on the top left? Let me explain briefly explain the concept of screen coordinates. Most of y'all took math courses at some point in high school and in college, hopefully. And at some point you learned about the XY axis. X goes to the right, positive to the right, negative to the left. Y goes up, positive, down, negative. In screen space, we flip the y-axis. And so in most games, that's going to be flipped. Just know that for now. That'll come into play later. Furthermore, if you look at the screen here, you'll see this blue square. That's your camera. That's what you're actually rendering by default. And so if you look at that, you'll see, the Godot icon's up here. If you want it to appear in the middle of the screen, when you run the game, you got to move it. You can select the node, go into, what mode is it? Select mode or press Q, and now you can move the node around. If for whatever reason you're having mouse issues and you can't do that, you can click on the node, go into the properties on the right. There's a transform there. You can edit the position data here manually if you want. So 600 by 300. There it is. We run the game, and look at that. It's no longer on the top left corner.
All right, it's in the center.
Okay, great. Let's pretend that this is our ball. We have a ball. What does the ball need to do, though?
Bounce.
It's got to move around. Okay. Let's begin the fun part, scripting. Okay, it's really important. Please, everyone here, click on Node 2D, not on Sprite, but on Node 2D, and attach a script to it. Right above here, you'll see this little icon. It'll let you click on that. It'll give you the screen for attaching a script. Let it be whatever name it is. We're going to create the script there. And so now we have a script where we can start programming. Left click on Node 2D. And then you can do right click attach script. Or if you have it selected above over here where if you look at my cursor, there'll be an icon here.
Attach script. There we go.
Yeah. This is where the fun begins.
And create. Oh
Okay.
my god.
I'm gonna. Oh, nah, I shouldn't delete any of this. Okay,
Oh wait, I have a question.
go for it.
Okay, I made the script, but how do I access it? Like where you're right now?
Okay, so a few ways. If you left click on the node here, or if you look at the node on the left, you'll see it's got a script icon there. You can click on that. It'll take you there. Just like this. Other way, on the top middle of the screen, you've got 2D, 3D script. You can click on these to move between these different tabs. You also have the file system on the bottom left here. You should, when you make the script, find the script .gd. If
Right.
you named the game Pong or whatever, it'll be that name. If you double click that, it'll
What
bring
was
you
the
to the
command to
script.
open up the little script again to get the options?
To add a script,
Yeah.
right click on a node and then attach script.
No, you said like for earlier when I wanted to open up the sprite menu, you said command something.
What is it that you're trying to do?
Add the script. I don't know how to open up that menu that lets you add it from the Mac.
So yeah, to add a script, you can right click on the node, or then click attach script. Or there's the icon up here. Or also, if you're looking at the node itself on the inspector, it has a script field in there. You'll have the option to attach a new script.
I don't want to be like causing too many errors because I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, if you show me a screenshot of what you got, I can probably assess real quick what's going on.
Well, all I really need is I need to know what because you told me earlier it was control something to open up the menu where you can actually add the script.
To add a sprite, that was to add a node.
Yeah, like to
Yeah,
add.
Control A.
And what was it again to add a script?
If you right click, you get the context menu, attach script will show up.
Yeah, but what was the command for the context menu for command what?
I don't think there is one for attaching a script. There's no command for attaching a script. What you can do, click on the node itself. On the inspector view on the right, on the very, very bottom, if you see my cursor where it says script here, you can click in there and you'll see an option.
I see it. There was a little button. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So we've got a ball. It's got the Godot icon. We want to make it move around. I'm going to start going a little quick to try and save some time. So what do we need for a ball to move around? Let's say that we need a speed at which it moves horizontally and vertically. So let's define our first variables in Godot. Variable declaration, it's all pretty straightforward. Just var, the name that you want. In this case, let's do speed x of ball. And I'm just going to give it some random value. I'm going to do 200. Press Control D to copy paste that. And do the same for y. Okay. Now, here is, if you go down here, you've got this process function. You can uncomment that by pressing Control K, or just delete at the very beginning the, what do you call that? The pound sign. If you delete only that, you're going to see, hey, what's going on? There's an error here. What we're using here is called GD script. This is the language we're programming in right now. It is white space, or what's the term? It has significant white space. You indent to show scope, and it needs to resolve scope. So right now, I've got a function declared, but it doesn't know where the function ends. And so that's what this comment, or this line right here of pass is for, to tell it, hey, it can end here, if there's nothing else there. Charlie Tyser brings up that this is like Python. Yes, syntactically speaking, it's very much like Python.
Oh, sweet, because I'm actually learning Python right now.
So then this should be pretty familiar,
Mhm.
at least in syntax. When it comes to memory management, this is much more like C++ or C. Hopefully that still scares you all a little bit. Okay. So hopefully your script looks something like mine. All we've done so far is uncommented the process script and created two variables, speed x ball and speed y a ball. All right, great. Process function. What is this function? Well, why is it already there named? In this function, go for it.
We remove those little hashtags, right? Where it says function process delta.
Yes. The hashtag comments out the line. So if you
Got
want to
it.
write a comment, if I do this, that's going to give me an error. But maybe that's, my comment. Hashtag, all right, it's just a comment.
Just want to make sure that I
Compiled.
was supposed to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of y'all have been learning some amount of software development in your computer science courses. If you haven't done any like live project like a game, you'll not have encountered a main loop yet. All this function is doing is giving you a main loop. And by that I mean that this function gets called as often as it can be. So what do I mean? Let me just type print hello, right? Hello world. If I run this, you're going to see it's literally printing hello world and spamming it. And so it's trying to just call that as much as it can. And so this is where the main programming of what makes your game run goes. You want something to move every single frame and then draw every single frame. This is where you do it. Okay. So something that we want to happen every frame is make the ball move. Okay. I'm going to delete this up here. I'm going to make a variable for the ball. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign it to the sprite. Oh yeah, and then on ready. Okay. This is a bit of Godot specific stuff. This line 4, on ready, variable ball equals sprite. What am I doing here? I'm creating a variable called ball, and it is referencing the node that we made earlier. The on ready portion is me telling Godot, wait till the scene is set up in game to create the reference. As the game is being set up, the nodes themselves are not guaranteed to exist by the time that the process or the ready function happen. And so that's why we got to tell it, wait for on ready. So this is more of a syntactic necessity for now. Someone's typing. Let me wait a little bit.
We can delete that area that says declare number of variables here, right? We can delete that.
Yeah, the comments. Yeah, we don't need them.
All right.
They're just quick little reminders. Yes, you can make comments. So if I do the hash pound symbol there and start typing, this is a comment. I have a comment. Doesn't do anything, doesn't get compiled, and there you go. Okay. Delete this. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, and let's make the ball move. Okay. We've got the reference to the ball. The ball is this node, the sprite node. It, being a 2D node, has in its properties this property itself called position. If you hover over the properties in the inspector, you'll see the name of the variables of the properties. You can edit these. You can edit them here in the editor, like that. Let's say this is 300. You can also edit them in code. So you can do something like ball dot position. There you go, just like that. Let's say ball dot position plus equals speed x ball. Okay, that looks good. Let's run it. And we got an error. What's going on here? We got a type mismatch. Position is a vector 2D. So all that's really saying this has an x component and a y component. What does it mean to add 200 to an XY component. It doesn't now. And so we have to be more specific. So let's just do ball.position.x plus equals speed of x ball, variable. We run that. And great. Our ball is gone. What happened here?
Oh, it moved out of coordinate.
Okay. Anyone know what happened? Why is it just gone?
It moved away from the camera, I assume.
It did. How fast?
Is it because it
Instantly.
went 200 every frame?
Super fast.
Yes, it went 200. 200 what? In our case, for 2D, units. Yes, units of what? What are the units? Pixels. Big IQ. So it went 200 pixels to the right. But remember, process is running as fast as it possibly can. So if you're on a fast machine like I am, it's gone, frame 1. Or, by the first frame rendered, it'll be gone. If you're on a really slow machine, you might actually get to see it. It'll only go 200 pixels. You get to see it because it got to render that because the machine's just a bit slow. It can't run process function that fast. Coincidentally, that's actually how. What was that game? The original, not Asteroids. Was it Asteroids?
Space Invaders?
Yes, Space Invaders. That's how Space Invaders originally worked. They did this. Just have a process function, have all the space invading aliens move down at whatever speed. As there were less and less aliens, as you defeated them and there's less of them, the game sped up. Why did it speed up? Because there's less stuff to process. And so that whole speed up was a bug. That wasn't intentional. It was okay back then. The hardware back then sucked. And so the speed of it getting a little faster, no big deal. Today, it's a very big deal. Okay, how do we control for that? In this process function, you'll see we have this important thing called delta. What is delta? It's the amount of time that's passed since the last frame. So if my game decides to have a hitch up, it lags, it goes real slow. It's taking 5 seconds to render this current frame. Delta is going to be something like 5 million. It's going to tell you how many milliseconds have passed since the last time that this function has run. We can use that information to take into account the passing of time itself. And so what we ought to do, we ought to multiply this by delta. That should be it. So now if I run this, look at that. What's going on here? We're moving by 200 pixels per second on the screen. Is that running for other people?
Yes, it's running for me.
All right.
Yeah, it's running good.
I'm
For
having
me.
some issues. It says that it's not working with the current scope.
Current scope. What would cause that? Do you have something out of scope?
Oh, I put it with capital D. My bad.
Oh, okay, I see.
Let's try that again. It worked. My bad.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
I keep forgetting like my Mac capitalizes everything, so I have to be like very careful.
All good, all good. Okay, let's do this again real quick. But for the y coordinate,
I have a quick question.
go for it.
I probably was I probably couldn't see it, but what is Pong TS CN connected to? Is it connected to anything or?
That is our scene. A scene is just a node that you saved. And so when we saved this game, right, when we clicked on OTD, did Control S, when we do the Control Shift S, we save it here, right? I just named it home. You can name it whatever you want to name it. Okay. So
I have a question.
go for it.
Okay, so the delta multiplying speed by delta just makes it go slower because of
Okay, so you're correct, but that's not technically correct. What you're doing by multiplying by delta is that you're saying move 200 pixels, in this case to the right, with respect to delta, with respect to time, right? And so only move 200 pixels that way insofar as 1 second has elapsed, or rather just by how much time has elapsed. So I want to move 200 pixels per second. If it's been a full second, move the full 200 pixels. If it's been 5 seconds, move 1,000 pixels. Right?
Okay,
If it's been
so like
less, it'll give you less.
like if we did it without delta, it's just gonna do 200 as much as it can, right?
Yes.
And
It's
by
gonna do
multiplying it by
200.
delta, you're doing it like in regards in seconds, right?
Correct. You are
Right.
respecting time, and that's the reason that's important today is that I have a top end PC. If I turn VSync off, this thing's gonna run at a few thousand frames per second, right?
Sheesh.
And it's just gone. That thing's millions of pixels to the right. If I bust out my old laptop from 2014, let's just say for sake of example, it's running at 10 frames per second. It's not going to be at that same distance in the same amount of time. And so now we have the same game giving you different behavior on different hardware. And that's not good. And so that's what we're doing here. We're having movement with respect to time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
All good, all good. This is a very important, this is one of the first things you absolutely need to know when you're doing game development and you're doing something real time. So please understand how Delta works here. If anyone's still not sure, just ask. It's not technically a bug. Oh, someone's asking. Oh, okay. So you're on Windows, aren't you, Aiden? On Windows, I think when you run the game, the editor, you have the debug thing. That's just an issue that all you Windows users have to deal with. I've got no solution for you. I think there was a patch at some point to make it optional, but you have to go into the Godot settings. I don't know where in the settings that is, but we can go over that maybe later. I'm on Linux, and so it doesn't always do. Do you always need pass at the end of the function? No. So I deleted pass here. Godot can look at this and reason about what is the end of my process function. It's right here, this line. It knows to do this piece of code and that there's nothing else on the same level of indentation. And so it stops there with this function. If I were to remove pass over here by commenting it out on the ready function, it doesn't know what code you want it to run in the ready function because you define ready and then you go into the same indentation, the same scope as ready, not within it. And so it doesn't know. And so that's an error. And that's why pass was there at the start, just to alleviate this error. But once you actually have code in there, you can remove pass. Yeah, Charlie put it in a much more succinct manner. Okay. Everyone's got the ball moving around in the X and Y coordinate. It's moving to the right, and it's moving down the screen. Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
If you'll remember how I spoke about screen coordinate, both these values are positive. Plus 200, plus 200. So it should go to the right and should go up. But no, screen coordinate is not the same as oh my goodness, I don't remember the Cartesian. There we go. It's not Cartesian. Cartesian has y pointing up. Screen space has y pointing down. So just know that's why this is going to the right and down, not up. Okay.
I'm doing that, but it's just going straight right.
Did you do this other line here? Ball position dot y plus equals speed y ball times delta.
I did that line, and it also does the same. It only goes to the right.
Did you set the variable to some reasonable value like 200?
Oh wait, never mind. I see the mistake is because I just copy and pasted and just changed the Y on the speed Y ball, not on the position dot
Yeah.
X.
Okay. So, what else should a ball do? It's moving around.
Bounce
It should bounce. All right, cool. What should it bounce off of?
the screen. Like
So let's
Cool.
do that. Let's pretend that we have a function bounce or ball touch wall. And we'll do the parentheses there as if we're calling a function. I'm going to do this for code clarity. Let's go ahead and create our own function, and we'll call it that, ball touch wall. So this is how you create a function, just the word func, the name of the thing that you want. We indent with, colon, and then have a tab. And I'll create pass here. Okay. So now just to show what's going on here. In the process function, we're moving the ball, and then we're calling this function. In this function, I'm just going to print out hello world again to show you this function is getting called. This makes sense. Hopefully everyone knows functions. Assuming that's the case, in here, let's take care of what to do when the ball is touching the wall. Okay. How do we know if the wall, or rather, if the ball is touching a wall?
if it hits like the border.
Okay, what's the border?
I
Like
don't know
the coordinates
What coordinates?
0, 0.
of the.
Okay, so 0, 0. That coordinate 0, 0 is the very top left of my screen. So that's 0, 0. And so the idea you're getting at is if the y position is above the 0 of y, bounce, great. And same for the left. What about for the right?
Like whatever the max is.
Yeah. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and let y'all know. Let's do variable. Let's do screen x. No, we'll be proper. Screen width. Oh my goodness, I can type. And variable screen height. We've got some nice built-in functions. Let me show you one. Do os dot, what is it, screen, no, get real window size. And we'll do dot x there. Oops. Okay, and let's just print these variables real quick to verify. That makes sense. Okay. Okay. What I just did here, I'm calling a function from the operating system class. It's a class that gives you a bunch of really useful functions related to the operating system. One of them is, get the window size. There's like 2 or 3 versions. Get real window size should work. So I'm calling that function here to figure out what is the size of the window. And that takes into account if the window is resized. So we'll do that for now. So now we know what the maximums are. Okay. So how do we know if the ball is too far to the left? Let's do if ball dot position dot x is less than 0. All right. What do we want to do if the ball is too far to the left? Anyone know?
Bounce it to the right.
Okay, how do we do that?
We make the speed the
I guess like the opposite of whatever it is. So like negative or positive.
Yeah. So then, speed of X ball, let's assign that multiplied by -1. So this will negate, right? Multiply the value by -1 and then assign that to itself. So if it's positive, make it negative, vice versa. So we want to do that if the ball is too far to the left. Also, we want to do that if the ball is too far to the right. So we can do or. Boolean algebra in Godot, you can just type and or. I think no, those symbols don't work. It's just type or and. I think Python does that as well. So if the ball is too far to the left or ball.position.x is greater than screen width. Okay, so let's run that. Let's see what happens. Look at that, it bounced. I'm gonna set the ball vertical movement to 0 so I can see this. I love it. This is good. Is anyone not caught up to this? Did I go too fast?
Can you go back to your if statement?
Highlighted red. What would cause it to be highlighted red? If I do this, maybe? Yeah, so don't forget the colon here at the end of the function definition. Did that fix it? It did. Superb. Let me see if I can. There we go. All right. So then we're good. No issues so far.
Hold on 1 second. Mine keeps saying invalid vector.
Valid vector.
Yeah, it says invalid operands vector 2 and float in operator greater than.
Did you do bulb.position.x on these?
Oh,
It sounds like you forgot the .x portion.
hey, it worked.
Superb.
And
I'm going to go ahead and
I
copy
didn't see it
paste.
bounce.
You didn't see it bounce?
I don't know if it's just because my screen's too small.
And you're positive you got everything in here looking the same as my code?
Yeah, it's just that, like, how do you... Like, I know that your computer's a lot bigger, but, like, when you're in the run zone, like, where you can run, is there a way to expand the size of that?
Uh-oh. 1 second. Expand the size of this window with Godot running?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, because I'm doing that and I'm not seeing anything. Like, it's just goes off the screen.
Copy paste your if code for me and I can check it out. And yes to that person.
Where do I put it? In the workshop chat?
Yeah. You can copy paste or screenshot.
Got it.
And so you're saying the ball's going to the right?
Yeah, it just goes to the right and it just doesn't come back. There's no bounds. It just goes straight, like, down. It goes, like, straight down to the right.
Oh, okay. I see what's going on. Set the Y ball speed to 0. It might have gone to the bottom of the screen, and so it's still actually bouncing left and right.
So instead of 200, I put it at 0.
Yeah, for Y ball, just so that it stays level for debugging purposes.
Yep. Okay, I got that, and I still don't see a bounce.
You're gonna pay for that, Charlie. You've got me stumped as to why it would do that.
Is
I
it
think it's on the
supposed to be
entire.
times equals -1, not just times equals 1?
That's
Right
not-
or no?
If you multiply something by 1 and assign it to itself, you've essentially done nothing.
Oh
And
wait, I think it's because I didn't put the same thing, but for Y.
And so what we're doing with the negative one is that we're multiplying any positive value by that to get it to become negative, and vice versa, a negative value into a positive. And so that's how we're getting the flip, or the flip in speed. In our case, the flip in direction. The speed stays the
This is
same.
weird. Okay, I saw it bounce. I saw it come back, but but for some reason, it goes off the screen and then comes back.
Oh, you know what? I know exactly what's going on. You're
What's up?
encountering an issue that I was anticipating was going to happen with the paddles. Okay. Can anyone reason as to why the code that we have here for bouncing off the wall won't work? I think I know exactly what's going on.
Do you mean because the sprite goes like it's not actually checking like if the sprite goes off the screen, it's checking if the node goes off this like touches the borders. So like the sprite can go partially off the screen and then come
So
back.
that's
Yeah.
fine. That's not going to be the problem.
Is it
What?
because it's
What?
checking like
Oh,
the
okay,
center of
shoot.
origin?
Okay, it just hit an invisible wall.
Wait, so it's working?
It's working, but it's hitting an invisible wall and then going back. Is it? I think it has something to do with where the sprite
On
is
your
actually.
on your
Oh,
screen.
oh, it wasn't aligned on the red. Hold on, let me try that again.
Okay.
Okay, it's at the top of the screen.
Okay, so it might be a different issue.
Okay, now I see it. It's I realigned it with the green and red, and now it's just like chilling at the top of the screen. Let me send a picture or a video, like, because I assume I'm doing it right. Also, sorry if I'm talking a bit too much. I'm just excited.
You're fine. This is, believe it or not, as unglamorous as this is often what game development can be like. Where, all right, you want to get a feature or something done, you got to take it step at a time.
Yeah, because like I don't know if it's because like okay, here I sent the video. This is what I'm dealing with.
Okay, no, that's correct. That it bounced. You're
Is
good.
okay.
Yeah, no,
Because I don't
that's
know,
bouncing perfect.
because I didn't know if it was supposed to be like scraping against the top.
Oh well, no. Okay. There was a question as to why. Okay, they got it. So remember, if you click on sprite node in our scene view on the top left, go into 2D view, you can move the sprite around. I have it just moved somewhere here in the middle of this blue rectangle, the thin line. That's the camera view. That's what's being rendered when you run the game. And so when I run this, mine starts in the middle. If you haven't moved it at all, it'll be like somewhere over there.
Okay. We
Ugh.
can move. Hmm.
Okay. Let's move forward with this. So with this code here, we've got it bouncing off left and right. I did the same for screen height. Code's there. So let's just test that real quick. Let me move this so I don't get this bug. Okay, perfect. Look at that. We got ourselves a Windows screensaver.
All right, I'm doing that too, but it's not going down. I think it's because I set it to 0.
Yes.
Let me go fix that really quick. Oh, this is a lot of fun.
Welcome to game dev.
This has been like, oh my god, it's working. Oh. And this has been like one of my passion hobbies to make video games. I've been wanting to become like an indie developer for God knows how long.
Hell yeah. So this is step one. All right. We're done with the ball. Let's what's the next thing we need?
And it's gone.
Let's get a paddle. Yes.
What's going on here? Hold on, something's going on with mine. Like it goes away and it just doesn't come back.
Like it went out of screen?
Like yeah, like I see yours how it's bouncing off your edges, but and mine it just goes like adios.
Diana, if you can take a screenshot of your code, I can look at it real quick. How do we get rid of the sprite overlapping outside of the screen?
Did I send my entire code or
Just take a screenshot of the code,
okay, 1 sec.
and I should be able to hopefully figure out what's up. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So I see the question there about the sprite overlapping. What we're doing right now with checking the position of the sprite, I'm not giving you guys like super clean, amazing code. I'm giving you code to understand the foundations and some of the basic concepts. When we say position, or when we ask, for the position of this node here, the ball, we're getting the center of it. And so 0, 0 is where my cursor is, where this little crosshair is. And so what we're doing is we're checking if that particular point of this node is out of bounds. And so half of it can go out of bounds. And once half of it is past the boundaries, then yes, it's out of bounds and it needs to be bounced back. There are better ways to do this where, hey, bounce it at the exact edge. I'll leave that for later. Because, it's more stuff to do that we don't need for it to work.
All right, I sent it to you and
Okay, and what was the problem with your thing?
here, let me get it. Hold on, someone just sent me. You're checking for the width of your screen.
Oh, yeah. Line 31. Look at your line 31 and then look at my line 30.
Screen width. Oh, I feel like an idiot.
Misspelled position. I like it. I like all these beginner errors. I wish I had these errors and not the ugly ones. Okay. So then that should work for you. Moving on, let's make a paddle. Okay. If you right click on Node 2D, add another child node, let's add another sprite.
It's still not working. God damn it.
I'm gonna move forward, but after all of this, I can get back with you, man, and we can make sure everything works well.
Okay, thank you so much. Like I genuinely do not know what I'm doing wrong.
Hold on. Well, I'm looking at the code here. Is that a plus equals? To MW118, lines 29 and 31 should be times equals with an asterisk, not plus equal.
Fine?
No. This person here.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because for mine, I did exactly how you did, but it's not bouncing off the edge of the screen. It's just
Oh, I see.
going.
Yeah. Jacob, on your line 32, speed y ball times equals -1. You're doing the x one again.
Oh. Let's see if that does anything.
So let me put this comment here to clarify for people.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
No invisible walls, no anything. All right. It's like okay, it bounces off the edge, but it's like it kind of sinks in a little bit and then goes
Yeah.
off.
Uh,
Is that okay?
That's fine for now.
Okay.
I'll explain again
Thank
why
you, man.
it's doing that a little later.
All right, thank you again so much.
Let's go. I got you. Let's go back to the scene view, node 2D, the root node, right click, add a child node, add another sprite. And so now you should have sprite and sprite 2. I don't like that it's sprite and sprite 2. That's going to get very confusing. So there's this magical thing you can do. You can rename them. You can double click, or I think you can press F2. And you can also right click and click on rename. And that's going to be our paddle. But it's going to be our player paddle. So let's just call it player. Okay. This is where
Okay, so for me, I just go to the plus and click a new sprite.
Yeah. So make sure it's parented to the node 2D and then rename it to player.
Yes, sir.
And so let me take a screenshot. So this is how it should look. It should look like that. It should not look like this.
Can I rename the ball sprite, or do I have to, or is that going to mess up everything?
You can rename it, but you'll have to. Oh, hold on. You can rename it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say that's the ball. And you should. I just didn't want to cover it yet at the time. So if I do that, we have to remember we have a reference to that node in our code. We have variable ball is equal to $sprite. That no longer is going to work because what this code is doing, it's doing get. Oh, let me rename this to get node ball. The $sign is just shorthand syntactic sugar for the function called get node. And so what we're doing in this line is getting a reference to that node in our tree. If you rename it, you got to rename the reference you're using here. And so just make sure you update this to ball. Make sense? I don't need the ready function. We can delete that. Keep this code short for the screen. Okay. All right. So we've got a player. Go into the 2D view. Same thing. It's a sprite, but it doesn't have a visual. So what are we going to do? We're going to give it the Godot icon again. So now we have a paddle and a ball. It doesn't bounce now. What's going on over here?
What did we add as the player child? Was it another sprite?
Yeah, another sprite node.
Okay, thanks.
And so a sprite node, all it is a node 2D. A node 2D is a node that contains positional data. But on top of having a node 2D's properties of positional data, it's got data for a sprite, a texture. So we want another one for the player. I'm going to place my player over here. Okay. So now that we have this, we can start scripting the player. Let's create a reference to the player. OnReady variable player equals get node or $case a $sign player.
Question: is the player and the ball supposed to be like in a certain order, or no? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter as long as they're separate. If you look at the screenshots that I posted, you'll see how they have the whole little line telling you who has what. No 2D on the top screenshot has two children, sprite and player. On the second screenshot, it only has one child, sprite, and then that node has a child, player. Do not have that set up. That'll be wrong. And you know what? Let me show you why. Okay. Here's the correct view. Let's run the game. There's the player. There's the ball. Awesome. What happens if you made the player, but you put it on the ball, right? You parented it to the wrong node. Uh-oh. What's going on here?
Oh, they got duplicated.
Not duplicated. It's moving, or rather, it's staying with its parent. If the parent move, I move. And so this is not the behavior that we want. So yeah, make sure that these are separate and not one on the other. Okay. Oh, so back into our process function. What's something we want to do with the player? We want the player to move. Okay, how do we move? We want the player to move if the player presses up arrow, down arrow, maybe even W and S for WASD players like me. To do that real quick, let's check if input.isAction. Whoops, wrong function. Is action pressed? And we'll do UI down. And we're going to use the same code that we did for our ball, but this time on the player. Player.position.y plus equals some amount. Let's do another variable for player speed. And we'll say that's also 200. Just good practice to separate them. Okay. I want to do the same thing for up. I'm going to go real fast with this portion. I don't want to drag this workshop too long. Let's see. Okay. Super. If you end up with some more issues, I can get with you after the workshop. I just want to get this done because it is soon to be 10 o'clock. Everyone else caught up on code?
Yes.
Okay. So the code here, we're now checking at every single frame. We're telling Godot, check for on my input systems if this action by this name is active, if it's pressed. UI down, UI up. These are defaults. I'll show you where you can modify that soon. But for now, just use UI underscore down, UI underscore up. It should be autocomplete available. We run that. You should be able to press up and down on your keyboard, and look at that. I am in control of the paddle.
Can you go back really fast? Something's going on. I have an error where it says expected identifier as member.
Let me see your code. That sounds like you're trying to access something you don't have.
I typed it directly how you did it. Let me send it into the chat.
That's copy pasted?
Yes.
Okay. Is my screen a little blurry for you by any chance?
A bit.
Okay. That's understandable. Let me give you the screenshot. This should be much more visible. It's UI underscore down.
I see.
And then I'll do the same for this over here in case anyone just needs, or you know what? Here's the code as it is currently, in case anyone just needs to copy paste it all. Okay. If you have this running, you should be able to run the game.
We can copy paste this whole thing.
Yeah, should work. Do be careful. It might not copy the tabs. If it doesn't, here, let me test it. I'm curious. Copy paste. Oh yeah, it doesn't save the tabs, so that could be a little problematic. Will it run? Oh my goodness, it'll run. And it converted. Oh wow, that's beautiful. I didn't think it would do that. Yeah, you might be able to just copy paste it and
It
just
didn't work for me.
All right. Just look at your code and type it out. The tabs are going to be a bit iffy. But it's just how you wrote UI. Okay. So we've got a ball. We've got a player. Whoops. Player moves up and down. We're like, what? 2/3 way done with Pong?
It's not working for me. It keeps saying that it's like it says player position, player speed isn't declared in the current scope.
Okay. Look at the top of my code. You'll see this here, line 9. I created a variable called player speed just to separate it
I
from
did
ball
not
speed.
see that. I bet I did not see that.
You're fine. Okay.
Now let me get the other one for.
Anyone else falling behind or need any explanation, questions?
For me, when I was writing it, it says for me invalid get index position on base equals null instance.
I'm getting that too.
Is it on a null index? Send me a screenshot. This is what I have here in case it's not blurry.
Worked, but I cannot control it.
You're pressing up and down on the keyboard?
Wait, does that say UT or UI?
UI.
Oh, UT was not.
Remember, I've got the code there if you want to.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
He's off the screen now.
Writing a midterm. Nice. All right. So just moving on for brevity's sake. We got the ball. It's bouncing off all walls. It's not bouncing off the player. So we probably need to take care of that. Anyone know how to do that?
I'm assuming we copy the thing for the edge, but instead of the ball, it's the screen. It's the player.
Yep. So let's just do another function here for ball touch player, and then we'll define that. Now I'm gonna do this real quick.
Oh, that was fast.
I did this project before just to double check I knew what I was doing. I just copied my code real quick.
Yeah, let me zoom in to see if I can just see that really fast.
Here, I'll
Incoming.
There we go. So here's my code. If you want to copy from there. So what are we doing? I've got this function. We're calling it on the process function, ball touch player, and then we'll check ball touching wall. So ball touch player. Okay, what are we doing there? We're checking if the difference between the ball position X and the player position Y is less than 64, as well as the Y coordinate. If the difference between either X coordinate or Y coordinate is less than 64, we're going to return true. And so what we can do is we can use this function for, okay, if they're touching, what do we want to do? Let's reverse the, what was it? The horizontal, like we did over here. So we can do something like this. Whoops. Copy all that. Let me see if I can edit this. Okay. All right. Let me test this, see if it works. Did y'all see that? It was beautiful. It worked.
See if it works for me.
What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to set my player over here to make it faster for me to test.
It didn't bounce off my player.
You got your code looking like mine?
Hmm. Yeah, it looks the same. If ball touch player, if A, B. Yeah, everything looks the same.
Did you, whenever you first execute, like on line 23, I think it is for me, did you put that, or I think it's line 22 on the presentation, did you put that one? Because, like, did you put that underneath the function? Because remember, like, it didn't work for me, and then I looked back and I realized I didn't put that part.
Eight.
So let me, okay. I'll help you out in a moment. I'm going to finish this so that anyone who doesn't have the issue can be finished as well. And then I'll happily stick around and fix any issues with anyone in particular, should they have any issues with the code. So just to recap real quick, we've got a ball, we've got a player. The ball bounces off all the walls. It bounces off this player here. Oh no, that was a really bad issue. I'll cover that issue in a bit. Pretend you didn't see it. We need a player 2. So I'm going to make a player 2 real quick. We'll put player 2 over here. We'll put player 1 over here. Let's copy this over here for 2, 2. We can copy all of this here. UI down for player 2. Now this here doesn't. Okay. What did I just do? I created another player. It's the same type of node. It's a sprite with the same icon. I moved it to the right side of the screen. I am now checking, is action pressed? Detect if I am doing something with a controller to move it.
I did your code and it just completely disappeared. Okay, I'm gonna wait.
Oh yeah, I'll help you after. I just want to finish this up so anyone else who might. Yeah, I just want to try and get this done, and then I'll go into helping with specifics. just so we can say, all right, we have Pong up and running somewhere. So conceptually, is action pressed UI _ down _ player 2? That actually does not exist. We got away with UI _ down, UI _ up, because that's part of the defaults. If we want to add more input actions, what we can do, we can go into project settings, input map, and we can enter more here. What is all this? So the way Godot handles input here, we can define an action by string and then map actual physical keyboard presses or keyboard scan code presses, mouse events, or joystick controller events to those actions. And so if I were to do UI _ down _ player 2, add this, and let's do one for up. Now I have these actions, and I can define them as, hey, player 2 is going to be using, I don't know, let's say the W key to move down, or S, W to move up. Close that. Let's run it. So I've got arrow keys for player 1. Oh no, I forgot to change this to player 2. Player 2. Okay, perfect. So player 2 can move on their own, and so can player 1. Now, player 2 does not collide with the ball. Player 1 does. We can go ahead and copy paste the code to make it also take into account player 2. Another thing we can do is let's throw in let's say in the function where we check if the ball is touching a player, what we can do is say, hey, throw player 1 and player 2 into this array. We'll call the array paddle or paddles. And then we iterate through that, right? So for paddle and paddles. And now what we're actually going to be checking is player 1 and player 2 instead of just player here. And so now this bounces. Okay. I went over a lot. I know. And we still have this one more bug. Do y'all see how sometimes the ball kind of just blitzes in and out like that?
I don't think that's supposed to
Yes.
happen.
All right. Does anyone have an idea as to why this is occurring? I want to cover this one bug, and then we'll call it a wrap, and I can
Is
help
it
out.
because they're like colliding? Like it's not just touching the outside; it's actually inside of this other sprite.
Well, it is inside, but that's how we know to flip
it
its
because-
direction.
Is it because it's only flipping it once? It touches that it doesn't count it like again, like unless
So
it touches. I was like,
you're kind of on the path there. So our process function runs. We check player inputs to move. All right, great. Then move the ball. Great. If it's touching the player, we flip the X. Okay. So if the ball is within bounds, it'll turn around. And that's it. It stays there, but it's turning around. And sometimes that works, right? Well, why? Because the function finishes, it comes back here, it does the input again, and then it moves here. Before it checks for collision with the player, it does move. And so if it's pointed to go away, it'll move before checking again. And so it does work most of the time. As you can see there, it hit. But sometimes it just doesn't work. And this is one of my favorite bugs ever. This probably is my favorite bug. So what's going on? Okay, there, I got it to trigger. How is the ball moving? I don't know if it comes off well in stream, but it's going left and right very quickly. So we know that it's turning direction and it is moving. But the problem is it's not moving enough. What's happening, if you hit the paddle from just the right moment where it's past the player enough, one frame of movement won't be enough for it to move out fully. And so what you have to do there is when it does touch the player, you have to reset its position, its X position. So well, we can say if the ball is touching the player, let's go ahead and move it as well. Let's call this ball position.x equals, well, let's turn it first. So we multiply that. And then we add, whoops. Let's do it by delta to respect its time. Yeah. But we do want to multiply this amount by a bit. Well, this might still be a little buggy, but I'm going to hack it in just a moment. Yeah. Now it's not as jittery. Okay. What I'm going to do, how do we get this sign? Oh my goodness, why am I blanking out? Okay. All right. We fixed it. What did I do to fix it? The issue here, the ball would be inside the paddle. It would still turn and move in the correct direction, but the movement in this correct direction was not enough for it to escape being within collision bounds. And so what I'm doing here now is moving it enough at the point of collision to be completely out of bounds in code. The issue with that, it does look a bit janky. It teleports, it kind of just slides this whole amount. But you got to pick, do you want it to work and look a little bad? Or do you want to have this bug where the ball gets stuck in the paddle? You got to pick your poison here. And that's it's one of the pain points of game development. Although there are better solutions here. Okay. We got that working. It's about to be 10 o'clock. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll cover over a topic or two real quick just to show some more highlights for the editor and for using an engine. But for the sake of not keeping up everyone till late, the workshop will be over. It's 10 o'clock. If anyone wants to stick around, get some more help with this, get it actually up and running and working, I will gladly stick around, sort all that out. But for anyone else, if you want to go to bed or just get out, we're good.
Could you post the code that you have currently?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Let me copy paste that. All right, there's my code as it is right now.
Thank you.
Okay. So what else?
How did you made the UI up player 2? Like, how do you made the menu appear so you can like declare it?
Oh, right. Or for it to for the actions of player
Yeah.
2? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So to make input mappings, we can go onto the very top of Godot, click on project, and we'll have project settings here. On here, we'll have this tab called input map. And so Godot already comes with a number of custom actions here: UI accept, select, cancel, and so on. I created one just called UI underscore down underscore player underscore 2, and one for up. So you can create them just up here where it says action. You can type it, enter, boom, it's added. That's not enough. What you then want to do is on the right side of that, you'll see a plus sign here for add an event. You can add the actual means by which this action is triggered. So a physical key. In our case, if we want to use the keyboard, just use a key. You can then press the key and it'll record that press. And so I picked S and W for player 2 and kept player 1 as up and down. Kind of weird. I went backwards with what should be player 1 and it should be player 2. So be it. Now, what's really cool about this system here is that it's abstracting a lot of control schemes of controllers for you. That's one of the powerful aspects of using something like an engine, such as Godot. So if you go to UI up and UI down here, the actions, you'll see device 0, button 12, and button 13 for D-pad up and D-pad down. Let me see if I can edit them. Okay, so these are generic inputs for detecting if you have a controller connected and are pressing on the D-pad. And so let me connect my controller. I've got a PS4, PS5 controller here. I can run the game. Okay, whoops. I can run the game, and right now I am controlling player 1 with my controller, not with the keyboard. And that's one of the really cool features that you get when you're using an editor, an engine over just a language. Yeah.
Okay. And well, now I only have one problem. Was the on when it highlights the problem and is the and I'm on part on ball dot position dot x plus equals speed x ball times delta. It highlights it that it's an invalid add index the position on base null instance.
Let me see your.
You want me to share my screen?
Yeah.
I have that issue too. I copied it and it says that there's an invalid index null.
If
Online.
y'all want to stream or show me, I'll happily help y'all out.
If you help that one person first, I'll wait.
It's all good. Null instance. Control clicked on the word ball. Control click on that.
Mm-hmm.
There's the error.
Oh,
You have on ready var ball equals $ball. So you're saying find the node that has the name ball. You don't have that in your scene tree on the left, where you have no 2D. You've got sprite and player 2. On the left, yes, there. That should be named ball.
It should be ball. Oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
So Should we go? Now if I run it,
There.
now it goes to sprite.
On sprite, you don't have a. Press F8 and then F5.
F8.
Yeah, now press F5.
I checked the spelling. It's
Oh yeah,
paddle.
yeah, it is spelling. Yeah.
Where?
Paddle
Oh,
dot
Right there,
positions.
right there.
Okay. All right, now it works. Wait, now that we're what?
Same thing.
Sign speed. Plus, I hate misspelling.
So that is one of the issues with this type system, or lack thereof.
Okay. Wait, what did I do? And then it was project settings, input.
You already got them?
Oh, I did page up W. No, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
So I don't need this. It was this part.
Yes.
Up. It will be W. Yes. Okay. Run
All right,
it.
did anyone else have any other questions or issues you want me to help you with real quick?
Just mine.
All right, what's up? What you got?
Oh, same thing with him. I have everything correct. It says invalid. Get index position on base null instance.
Can you stream your desktop?
Sure. Just
All right. Thank you.
It's all good. I know I ended it like really informally. It's just because it is a bit late. I do hope that this gave y'all a taste of what introductory game dev can look like, as well as using Godot and making a game with an engine as opposed to just a language. Believe me, this would have been much harder with only a language, as opposed to having a framework, or more so
I'm
an
trying to
engine.
share the screen. Hold on. How do I?
I think I can probably stop recording here. It's just going to be bug fixing with some people. All right. I'm no longer recording. If anyone else is,
Okay,
that's
for
all.
some reason it won't let me share the screen.
Okay. So let me. Okay. So what's the bug that you have?
It says it just says invalid. Get index position on base null instance.
Okay. So then you're referencing something that doesn't exist. So most likely you have either ball or player referencing a node that you've renamed or not named correctly. So on the very top over here, we've got onReady var ball equals ball player player 2. Make sure that these names are the same as the ones that you have on your node tree, which you'll see on your left of the screen of the editor.
Everything
Are
looks
they
the
just-
same. Everything's the same.
Can
Well, actually, no. Ball is labeled as sprite. I don't know if that might mean.
Yes, that is it. So either rename that to ball
Did.
or reference ball by referencing sprite.
Oh my god, it worked.
Okay. Anyone
Now,
else? Issues, bugs?
Player 2 is not moving, and the little ball is gone.
The ball is gone. Okay. Let's do player 2 moving. Are you watching my screen?
Hmm.
Okay. Go into project on the top, then project settings,
Okay.
input map.
Okay.
Scroll all the way down. Do you have these two here? UI down. Here's a screenshot of it. Do you have a UI down player 2?
No.
Okay, so you're gonna need to fill these out. On the top where it says action, you can type out an action string as you want it to be. You could just do player 2 down and then player 2 up. So like this. Once you've done that, use the plus icon to the right of those to give them a key press. Assign this key press to that action.
So hard to see. Dang it.
I'm taking screenshots there in the workshop chat so you can see a little better.
And type exactly how it is, or just player?
However you want it to be. If you want to follow my code, do UI down player. The first screenshot there is what I am using.
Down player 2. And to assign a button, a physical key, what did you use?
Then click on the plus icon there, click on key.
And it would be W, right?
Yeah, and then just press whatever button you want to trigger that action. I'm using W and S. And then do the same for the other action. Man, I had totally anticipated that this would be done in like half an hour. I went so much further than half an hour. I am so sorry, everyone, for that.
All right.
It's okay. Pretty much the same thing when I teach.
Yeah.
Be different.
All right, so I have W and S at Z now, and now they're not moving.
Oh, these complaints will be voiced in the poll, most likely. But oh well. It is the life of game dev. You think these anger issues are gonna put me down? I have to deal with gamers. You know how toxic they can get when you nerf and buff the wrong character? Oh, it's bad. Glad you
say it
enjoyed.
like you're not
Thank
a
you.
gamer. I assume you are.
I don't actually complain about games since I'd started making them. Like, okay, I do, but when it's at a technical level and I can understand the shortcomings with reason. And so when there's technical ineptitude at play, oh yeah, I'll get a bit frustrated. But when it comes to issues with game development intent or game design intention, I'm pretty chill.
That's fair. It looks like you're using Linux. Am I correct?
Yes.
Which
I'm
distro?
gonna look through it, but I'm gonna call it here.
Oh, nice.
What was that, Jacob?
We're gonna call it here because it's getting late. But
Yeah.
dang, I don't know what's going on.
If you're available on the weekend, I can help you out a bit more, Jacob, if you want. And this goes for anyone. If anyone needs a bit of help, there's a bug, whatever, I'll be here. Just ping me, and I'll sort y'all out and get y'all started with game dev.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I tried out i3 for a while, but I never quite got it set up how I wanted.
I like it. I'm actually using i3 gaps. I had a really riced setup, one of a kind, on my old laptop. I just haven't had the time to copy over my dot files and actually get them configured, set up, and whatnot. Because back then I was on Ubuntu, now I'm on Manjaro. There's gonna be some crossover issues, and I don't have the time to figure that out.
Though for just general i3, that should be okay transferring over.
Maybe, but
certain other things won't. Any daemons, they won't.
Yeah. Alrighty. Any other issues or whatever? Complaints, questions, bugs, help needed?
I guess I can just call it for now.
All right. So then you're good. Anyone else? Alrighty. I suppose we'll say that that's that. Damn. That was supposed to be much shorter.
A little,
Well.
just a little bit, just a tad.
Oh, hey, you took like 15 minutes at the beginning, and you know what? That was all the difference. Those 15 minutes mattered. It's 10:15 now. I would have been done in 2 hours. Whatever. I'm totally not disappointed.
Yeah, any complaints about Luis? Feel free to DM me. You know.
I'm sure there'll be people who didn't like it. I know I can drone on.
I'm typing right now.
Thank you.
Not like you're forcing them to stay.
All right.
And so, what's the next workshop? Next time, or?
So I'll maybe put a message out tomorrow or something if people are interested. If enough of you want me to do this again tomorrow, maybe something a little more complex, I'll do that.
How many is enough?
I mean, I don't know. Till y'all stop showing up, I suppose.